What's up, everyone? Today, we're on our way back from Jupiter, Florida, and making our way up to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee to attend the Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion. This is the second half to our 2-week road trip, and we figured on our way up, we'd hit a few of the Badge of Honor trails. So today, we're at the Tread Lightly Trail in Woods and Lake, Florida. This trail is rated to be a fairly easy trail. I think it has a 1 to 3 rating on the Badge of Honor app. And from what I've read online, it is mostly just trees, some dirt roads, maybe I think there might be a water crossing or something, but I'm not sure on that. But I definitely have heard that there's not really any true off-road obstacles or anything. So it's mostly going to be just running around, checking out the scenery. I have heard there's a lot of cool wildlife, and I hope that we get to see some. From what I've also read, this trail takes about 6.5 hours to complete. And unfortunately, we don't really have 6.5 hours to spare. So we're probably only going to cover a small section of this trail because our plan is actually to go from here to Daytona Beach and ride along the beach. So that is going to be also recorded. And I'm going to show you guys some of that as well in this video. So guys, as you can hear, my Jeep is also on because it is a super hot day today. So I'm not sure how much footage I'm actually going to get from outside the vehicle. Most of it is probably going to be captured from the dash cams, from the rear and the front one. So hopefully this will be good enough to show you guys what this trail is all about. Maybe if I have an opportunity, I actually might throw up the drone and fly around with that while we're riding along to see some cool footage. So guys, let's go ahead and jump in the Jeep and check out what this trail has to offer and earn our Badge of Honor for this trail.
The Tread Lightly Trail is approximately 81 miles long, and where we started was about the midpoint of the trail, so there was actually a north section and a south section. We decided that we'd go hit the south section because it looked like it would be the perfect amount of trail for today's adventure. As we started to head south, we had to cross this major road, and at this road, we noticed a young gentleman on his phone. He was kind of aimlessly walking around, looking around, and we didn't see a car, so it was kind of confusing. And as we crossed the road, we noticed that he was kind of following us and kind of looking at us. We didn't know why, maybe it was just because of the unique vinyl wrap that I have on the Jeep that, people do look at it. But as we started to head into the trail, we kind of were slowly creeping along, and we started to notice a small red hatchback in the distance. As we approached the car, we definitely noticed that it was kind of stuck, and it wasn't moving. And when we got closer, we noticed that there's a driver in it, so then we were like, okay, that has to be that guy's car. So we decided that it made sense for us to turn around to see if he needed any help getting it out. Once we got back to him, we did find out that that was in fact his car, and he was in fact stuck. So we offered to pull him out so he could get on his way. So we found out he was actually from New York, and this was his rental car, and he was on his way to visit some friends when his GPS directed him to go down this road. And unfortunately, this road is definitely not made for a front-wheel drive, two-wheel drive hatchback. So what I did was went ahead and pulled out my shackles and the recovery strap, hooked him up, and then we towed him out. Surprisingly, he actually made it pretty far along into this road before getting stuck. Once we had him pulled out and back on the road, we restarted the trail and headed south. The first part of the trail was to travel down this large access road. And guys, because I'm mainly just showing you guys dash cam footage, what I'm going to do is fast forward through the majority of these sections just to make this video a little shorter. So once we came up to the first intersection, we headed left into the first section of Brush Trail. This part of the trail was mainly just sandy roads with bushes and forests on both sides. This first section of the trail wasn't that bad. The trail was kind of wide enough to get through, and there was definitely some situations where I couldn't avoid having bushes or branches right up against the Jeep, but then there was other sections that I could actually just simply turn left or right to avoid a bush or two. During this section of the trail, it actually transitioned from this open setting where it was more open to more of a forest section where you travel through the trees. At this point, guys, while we were traveling through this, I said to Lisa, this isn't that bad. If it's like this the entire way, we can easily get through this entire trail. And I think when I said that, I kind of jinxed us. After we got through this section, it actually took us back to the main access road, which we then continued south on to the next section of bush trail. As soon as we turned into the next section of trail, we immediately noticed how much tighter it was. As we traveled through this trail, it was definitely evident that we were not going to be able to avoid any bushes throughout this part, and it would be a consistent scraping of bushes along the side of the Jeep. So right here, guys, we actually passed these logs, but unfortunately somehow I ended up catching one with one of my rear tires and put the log kind of in a weird place under the vehicle. So I kind of had to work it out to get clear of it, and then we continued on. You hold the strings without me knowing. Why do I have to suffer through the thinking? Why do I have the feeling that we're sinking? I need to find a way. So guys, we continued along the trail, and we noticed that the trail was getting consistently tighter and tighter. Find a way. We got to a point where we looked ahead and we're like, that's really tight. And so we decided to look at the map to see how far we had actually gone, and it was not that far. So we decided that it made no sense to continue along, and that we'd simply go ahead and back up so we can turn around and head back out. Find a way out. What's all this for? It's got me turned around, but I can't ignore the feelings that I found in this whole damn thing that we got going. You hold the strings without me knowing. Why do I have to suffer through the thinking? Why do I have the feeling that we're sinking? I need to find a way. though we only saw a small portion of this trail, I have to say it was pretty scenic. The fact that you're driving along this white sand and you have these tropical bushes all over, it's really cool to look at, and it's a lot different than the trails I've done in the northeast of the US and Ontario in Canada. So even though it was a short section, it was definitely worth experiencing.
So guys, we made it about 1/8 of the way through the trail, and then we decided that the trail was starting to get a little too tight and it just wasn't worth continuing. The views and the trail and everything were amazing, and I would have loved to got a little bit further, but unfortunately, I can officially say I did not make it through the entire trail, and that is not because of the obstacles. It is mainly because the trail is super tight and it is a constant pinstriping, scraping on the side of the vehicle, and I just did not want to deal with that any longer. To be honest, guys, I was being a little bit ambitious when I decided to do this trail because I've read a bunch of reviews and posts about this trail being fairly tight and the pinstriping being unbearable. And I was like, wow, maybe those are just reviews. It's not actually like that. Maybe it's really wide. And they were right. I was wrong. This trail is super tight. And to be honest, I feel like this trail is actually better for ATVs and UTVs, or maybe a Jeep JT or a YJ, but definitely not good for a JL or a JT. The trail is not wide enough. All you end up with is a constant scraping and screeching. Almost sounds like nails on a chalkboard, and it's just unbearable. And if you care about your vehicle and your paint, definitely not worth it. For myself, I'm in the middle of this wrapping project, and it was just not worth destroying that wrap. So we decided that it was time to turn around, come over here, have some lunch, and then we're gonna head back the main trail route out to the road and head over to the beach.
What's all this for? It's got me turned around, but I can't ignore the feelings that I found in this whole damn thing that we got going. You hold the strings without me knowing. Why do I have to suffer through the thinking? Why do I have the feeling that we're sinking? I need to find a way. Find a way. Find a way. Find a way out.
It took us about an hour to get over to the beach from the Tread Lightly Trail. So guys, when I approached the beach, I was expecting that I would actually have to pay a fee to get on the beach, but for some reason there was no one at the booth, maybe because it was a weekday and it wasn't a weekend, but nevertheless, usually you might have to pay to get on the beach to drive along it. At this point, we just simply drove along this beach. So what I'll do is I'll let you guys just enjoy the scenery and the footage from our dash cam.
She's saying, ooh, you've got one life to live. She's singing, ooh, you've got don't let it go. You've got one life to live. She's singing. You've got one life to live. Don't let it go. You've got one life to live. Don't let it go. You've got one life to live. Don't let it go. Can you let go? Let go of it all tonight. Or will you decide to push on through and ignore the words inside? Take a breath now. Don't hold it in too long. 'Cause you'll find you're missing out. A last short little song. Just saying, ooh, you've got one life to live. She's singing, ooh, you've got one life to live. Don't let it go. Ooh, you've got one life to live. She's singing, ooh, you've got one life to live. Don't let it go.
As you can see, guys, as you can see, we are on the beach now. Hopefully you can still hear me over the crazy waves. I guess this is because of the hurricanes that have been coming by. The waves are just cracking. I have to say, this is pretty impressive. It's pretty cool that you could drive up and down the beach, and it goes really, really long. There's also a lot of cool houses and stuff to look at, a lot of resorts. It's a really cool adventure. I highly recommend that if you are driving around Daytona, that you come out and check this out. For myself, I know for a fact that now that I've been here, I need to come down for Jeep Week, because this would be really cool to drive along with all the Jeeps lined up. It would be a lot of fun. At this point, guys, today has been a long day. We drove for a couple hours before, then we hit the trail, and now we're here. So I'm gonna wrap this up so that I can go get some rest, because we have a big long trek up to Georgia tomorrow. If you guys have any questions or comments for me, please post them below. I hope that even though we only did 1/8 of the Tread Lightly Trail, that you still have a good understanding of what that trail has to offer. I highly recommend that if you are thinking about doing this trail, that you consider what your Jeep is. If you have a brand new JL or JT, or even a JK that's a little bit wider base and has nice, good paint, I don't think this trail's for you. It is just too tight, and it is gonna lead to a million pinstripes down your sides, and it's just not worth it. But if you have a JT, a YJ, or your JL is rhino lined or skinned or has the armor guards, then I would recommend it. As usual, guys, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And if you're at the Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion, hopefully I see you there.